Hello, we're so happy to have you here today. It's been a little bit of a chaotic morning at our Yazinski household. We have a daughter who's doing a final exam and it's our son's 4th birthday, but we still wanted to get this video recorded and prepared for you.
So thank you for being here. Today we continue our series with Anna Maria Taigi, and today we're looking at how just people would come to her with concerns that they had in their life.
Like a mysterious illness or a lost possession or a missing inheritance or even a family member whose whereabouts were unknown.
Now, these aren't big worldly affair concerns with people. These are ordinary people who just have ordinary concerns that would come to Anna Maria Taigi.
Yet again and again, Anna Maria seemed to know what no one else could. This is a continuation of our series on Blessed Anna Maria Taigi.
So today we're looking at some of the most remarkable examples of her supernatural knowledge of the natural world.
As we have seen in previous episodes, Anna Maria perceived these things through the mysterious sun that was continually present before her. One area where this gift appeared especially remarkable was in her knowledge of sickness and disease.
When praying for a sick person, Anna Maria would see in the mysterious sun the nature of the illness, the possible cure, and the remedies that should be used. People frequently came to her when they were suffering from illness. Her humility and prudence usually led her to advise them to consult the doctor first. If the physician had correctly understood the complaint, she would not say anything more. But if the diagnosis was mistaken, she would recommend a different remedy and explain the treatment that should be followed.
Anna Maria believed that when ordinary remedies were available, they should be used, and that miraculous intervention should be reserved for cases of necessity. Yet these ordinary remedies often produced remarkable cures because Anna Maria knew them through a supernatural science.
One example is of a young man who suffered from an exhaustive and troubling illness.
His condition had persisted for so long that the doctors had been unable to help him. Eventually, Anna Maria's son-in-law brought the young man to her. Anna Maria looked into the mysterious sun and immediately knew what medicine was needed. She insisted on preparing the remedy herself and gave it to the young man. He took it for 3 days. Then, on the 4th day, he returned with remarkable news. He had completely recovered.
In another case, Anna Maria foresaw a remedy that could save a child's life, but she also foresaw that it would be never used.
An only child had fallen dangerously ill. His parents, fearing the worst, asked Anna Maria to pray for him. She immediately understood the nature of the illness and identified a simple remedy that could save the boy's life. But she also knew that the doctors would reject it. As a result, the child would die. It was a heartbreaking prediction.
Not only were the parents facing the loss of their only son, but his death would also mean the loss of a valuable inheritance. The doctors were highly skilled and respected men, yet they dismissed the remedy that Anna Maria suggested. The treatment was never tried, and the child died exactly as she had foretold. Now, Anna Maria's spiritual sons knew the great treasure that they had with her.
Because of her kindness and willingness to help, they brought her every kind of concern, both great and small. Nothing seemed too insignificant. She listened patiently and never refused to answer their questions or offer her advice.
Sometimes their concerns were just surprisingly ordinary problems.
On one occasion, one of her spiritual sons came to her before an important meeting and asked whether the person he needed to see would be at home. After looking into the mysterious sun, Anna Maria would tell him whether he would find the person there. She would even tell him what would be said during the meeting and how the whole matter would end.
On another occasion, one of her spiritual sons came to Anna Maria deeply concerned because no letter had arrived from an absent family member. Anna Maria explained that his relatives were in good health and that they had written and that the letter had simply been lost or delayed in the mail. She even revealed what the letter contained.
Another spiritual son came to her troubled by the way he had been treated. Anna Maria explained the reason. Her spiritual sons brought her all kinds of concerns, even matters as small as a lost key or a missing snuff box.
They treated Anna Maria as much as little children treat their mother, running to her for comfort and help in every trouble, no matter how small. And she, in turn, treated them with the patience and affection of a loving mother. She never dismissed their concerns or drove them away. If one complained about a lost possession, she might reply with a smile.
Why don't you look for it? Is God obliged to look after careless people? Then, if every search proved unsuccessful, she would tell him where it could be found. Go to such and such a place, she might say, you left it there. Or, such and such a person has found it. Go and ask for it back, but be more careful next time.
Now, have you ever had a concern of some sort of domestic matter, a question that you really want to know the answer to and you obsess about it in your mind for a long period of time? Well, in one case, there was a man who had a question about his late father and a large amount of money that seemed to have gone missing. The man became convinced that shortly before his death, his father had entrusted a large sum of money to another person to be passed on to him as the eldest son. The thought tormented him, and eventually he brought the matter to Anna Maria. Her answer was not what he expected.
First, she told him that the amount of money was far smaller than he imagined. Then she revealed something even more surprising. Some of his father's servants, she said, had conspired together and stolen the money before his father's final illness. The servants themselves were now dead and undergoing punishment in the next life. For that reason, she advised him to trouble himself no further. Any attempt to recover the money would be useless.
Now, what if you had access to Anna Maria Taigi like her spiritual sons and daughters did? What questions might you be tempted to ask her? I'm just guessing that someone out there just might be wondering what the next lotto numbers would be. Well, it turns out somebody asked her that question.
One day, one of Anna Maria's spiritual sons, who was living in great poverty, came to her with an unusual request. He begged his good mother to look into the mysterious son and tell him which numbers would be drawn in the next lottery. If he could choose the right numbers, he believed the winnings would free him from his financial difficulties. Before answering, Anna Maria first sought to know whether God would permit such a request.
The answer she received was clear. Beware of looking into the mirror for the purpose of choosing lottery tickets. That's not the right way. The matter seemed settled. Yet later that evening, while looking into the mysterious sun for other reasons, Anna Maria repeatedly saw certain numbers appearing before her. But she did not reveal what the numbers were.
That's interesting. Like, why would God let her see the numbers only to not say anything about them?
I don't know. But if you look at Anna Maria's life here, like in some of these examples, what stands out to you?
Okay, what I really love about her is that she was like a regular person, a regular woman, a mom at home. She's very I feel like I can relate with her a lot.
Yeah.
The other thing that's interesting is that not everything that the Lord discloses to her is permitted to be shared.
Yes.
Like even like those who are in hell or,
Or the lottery numbers.
Yeah.
But I just think about like all the little domestic matters that people would run to her with. Mm-hmm. Like the lost things. Like how often do we lose things? Like maybe it's not the snuff box.
How often do you lose things is a better question.
My wallet. My keys.
Your glasses.
My glasses. So like, wouldn't it be, and oftentimes people, who do they usually run to for lost things?
The wife.
Well, I meant St. Anthony.
And then the wife runs to St. Anthony.
Well, right. Okay, so after I run to the wife, we run to St. Anthony.
Yeah.
But now here is another blessed, that we can run to when we lose something. Mm-hmm. Like Blessed Anna Maria Taigi, pray for me, help me find this. Mm-hmm. I just really appreciate all these stories because they're just so ordinary. Mm-hmm. We can relate to losing things. Yeah. We can relate to having questions in our minds about, life and not knowing the answers. How about, we have 8 children. We have 8 children. How often does one come to us and say, I'm sick and we don't know how.
Like 1,000 times a day, it feels.
Yeah, but we don't know how to sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Remedy it.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes you think, well, is it serious or is it not? Do they just want attention or is it actually something that needs like medical attention? Sometimes you just don't know. Mm-hmm. because they make a big deal about something that could be small, but maybe not. So anyways, here we have Anna Maria that seems to know all the remedies for everything. Supernatural knowledge of natural things. So we can ask her to pray for us so that we could obtain the natural knowledge for these problems around us. Anyways.
I like that. And even just like being able to know quickly, because when you're kind of in indecision, it's a hard, like when you're discerning something, it's just nice if, the decision comes quickly.
Yeah. And don't you say something about what's the problem with indecision?
There's a lack of peace there. Whenever you're in indecision, you're always like, and it steals a lot of your energy. It's better to just make the decision.
Right. So Blessed Anna Maria maybe can help us with that as well.
Right.
Anyways, share with us below what stood out to you and why. Love to learn from you, and we'll see you soon.